John's gospel has Jesus saying, "It is finished," as in his last words. From the point of view of the people at the foot of the cross and the disciples who dispersed, it would have appeared that Jesus' ministry was over. But is that what Jesus said? Well, the Peshitta, which is the Aramaic version of the New Testament, has Jesus' last words being a single word, done. That made me think about what Jesus was saying to the people then and to us today. If I look at the word done, I can see a difference in the meaning. Jesus said that the prophecies that were in the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament, about him were done. Everything that the book of Isaiah predicted about the Messiah, well, they all came true. His birth, his childhood, his ministry, and now his death were all recorded hundreds of years before his time. The pain and suffering on the cross, well, that was the last part. He was known as the Messiah to many people. He healed lepers, the crippled, and many other people. Everything that he said and did was for humanity's benefit. Jesus brought the kingdom of heaven to the people as a new idea. It's the idea of love, grace, and peace. It is an understanding that every person has value to the Lord. There is no distinction between the souls of the rich and the poor. A soul is a soul. Every soul is worthy of redemption. God's Messiah hung on the cross, proving that. Unfortunately, at that moment, it was difficult for the followers to understand what had just happened and what their response was going to be. One disciple was brave and stayed with his rabbi, even though he could have been grabbed by the Roman authorities and crucified also. Church tradition says that disciple was John. He tried to comfort Jesus' mother in the time of tragedy. Jesus knew she needed to be cared for and gave that task to John, who accepted it without question or comment. The words, "It is finished," show that a termination occurred. Jesus' message of God's love for all humanity is not a message that has an endpoint. God's love for us is a never-ending love story that will expand till eternity. Then what did Jesus mean? He meant that his physical ministry was over. Remember that Jesus was with his disciples for 40 days after his resurrection. He continued to teach them and encourage them to not only live by his words, but to also teach others how to live, because Jesus encouraged them to not only follow his words, but also to teach them what it meant and an offer of redemption. Jesus showed us how God wants us to live, and we are to love one another. In today's world, that seems like an insurmountable task. I wrote this message on October 10th, 2023, and the war in the Ukraine and Israel are waging on. Terrorists launched a shameful sneak attack on Israel. There are countries whose leaders have stated that they wanted to destroy Israel and all the Jews. This hatred is not a part of Jesus' kingdom of heaven. Rather, it is the evil from which Satan unleashes on the world. I was reading the writings of Rabbi Steinsaltz yesterday, and he said that we must take extra precautions against evil inclination. This is the evil power that exists in the world. It can invade anyone at any time. He said that even righteous people can be infected by evil inclination. When a person absorbs evil inclination and then performs acts of evil, a klippot forms around them. Now, klippot in Hebrew means shell. Consider it a barrier that will not allow positive energy to enter a person's soul. This soul will turn to Satan and become pure evil. It is with a sad heart that I was researching this narrative about Jesus' crucifixion this week. The images and the videos coming out of the Near East are frightening. It is a reminder what happened in Europe in the 1930s and 40s. Evil is alive, and in some parts of the world, it is thriving. How can people who say they believe in the God of Abraham act this way? Well, Steinsaltz said it is evil that has taken over. A part of Jesus' ministry was to help people to recognize evil inclination and to protect themselves from it. We may not be able to stop evil in the world. However, we can work on ourselves to ensure that evil inclination does not affect us. Look up to Jesus. He was a man of peace in an evil world. His message can be interpreted as anyone can release themselves from evil inclination. He warned us that evil inclination will strike without warning. Therefore, we need to be prepared. That preparation is knowing the Bible, which spells out how to combat evil inclination. Learn and follow the ways of Jesus. You'll never be disappointed, and know that you are always pleasing God. God bless you for listening to this message. I hope it touches you in some way, shape, or form. And as always, yes, shalom.